Greetings, adventurer, and welcome to the Elder Scrolls Library. My name is Aurelius, your lore master, and today we are reading and discussing Guide to Cheydinhal. The book Guide to Cheydinhal appears in only one of the Elder Scrolls games, Oblivion. This book is a guide to the city of Cheydinhal in the Province of Cyrodiil. It covers the ruling class of the town, its districts, and other prominent locations or organizations operating inside the city. Let's get into Guide to Cheydinhal. Alessia Ottus's Guide to Cheydinhal. RK bless my body and soul. My name is Alessia Ottus, and I'd like to tell you all about Cheydinhal. The first impression of the visitor to Cheydinhal is of broad green parklands, graceful willows along the banks of the Corbolo, neatly groomed gardens and flowering shrubs. Cheydinhal looks prosperous with clean, well-trimmed houses and neat stonework, ornamented with striking designs in glass, metal, and wood. But what lurks beneath this pleasing appearance? Crime, scandal, corruption. Cheydinhal is divided into 3 districts. To the north, on a hill, is the courtyard and inner keep of Castle Cheydinhal. A road runs east-west below the castle from Eastgate to Westgate. The Corbolo River runs roughly north-south from this road, dividing Cheydinhal into 2 districts, Chapel in the east and Market in the west. In Market District lie all the shops, inns, and guild halls. In Chapel District are the chapel itself and Cheydinhal's residences. Bridges span the Corbolo in the north and south, with the south bridges connecting upon a pretty little island park in the middle of the river. Though Cheydinhal lies in the Nibelline East, its culture is shaped by the dark elf immigrants who immigrated here in the past half-century from Morrowind. Many of these immigrants were fleeing Morrowind's rigid society and heathen temple theocracy. In Cyrodiil, they hoped to find the stimulating commercial atmosphere inspired by Zenithar's patronage. One of these immigrants is now Count Cheydinhal. Andil Indaris was of House Hlalu in Morrowind, but he came to Cheydinhal searching for greater opportunity. His sudden rise into the highest ranks of Cyrodiilic nobility is hard to explain, and most old families of Cyrodiil rightly regard him as a presumptuous upstart. However, the discovery of the Count's wife, Lady Lethassa Indaris, badly battered and dead at the foot of the county hall stairs, immediately attracted scandal, and rumors of the Count's dissipation, rages, and infidelities suggest a darker mystery behind her death. The Chapel of RK in Cheydinhal is poorly attended. The Count sets a poor example. He never sets foot inside the chapel. But perhaps it is from fear of divine judgment that he avoids placing himself under the eyes of the 9. Cheydinhal's primate, priest, and healer are goodly people and staunch professors of the faith, but the most honored and respected of the chapel's clerics is Arundel, the living saint of RK, a tireless crusader against the wicked practice of necromantic sorcery in the Mages Guild and in the Imperial Battle College. Both of Cheydinhal's inns appear respectable from the outside, but the Newlands Inn is owned by a wicked, profane dark elf ruffian, and the Cheydinhal Bridge Inn is owned by a dignified, devout imperial matron. So I am sure you know which place will serve you good, reasonable food, and which will provide you with a safe, clean bed where you are unlikely to be murdered for your purse. The owner-proprietor of Cheydinhal's bookstore is Machna, an Argonian, and a ruder, more disagreeable creature I have never met. Nonetheless, his selection of books is excellent, and his prices reasonable. The poorest of Cheydinhal's residences are bright and clean, with well-groomed grounds, and the citizens think it no inconvenience when you step in to admire their furniture and appointments, provided you do this at a decent hour. However, be warned. Many of these residents seem respectable to all appearances, but no sooner do they open their mouths than they reveal themselves to be evil brutes, shocking and rude, and more likely to murder you and bury you in their basements as to speak a civil word to you. That many of these rough, unpleasant people are orcs should be no surprise to you. However, you will not wish to miss the House of Cheydinhal's most notable citizen, the celebrated painter Raith Lathandus. He is often hard at work in his studio and not to be disturbed, but his wife is gracious and hospitable, and may be persuaded to show you those of his paintings which hang on his own walls. Follow the 9 to glory. While the exact founding of Cheydinhal is unknown, we know from references that the city proper has existed since at least 1E200. And as the book describes, it is a very visually pleasing city and county. The author, Alessia Ottus, continues to show throughout this book her love of all things imperial and the Nine, and her disdain for anything otherwise. The book states that it is unknown how Andel Indaris became Count of Cheydinhal so quickly. One theory is that his immigration to Cyrodiil from Morrowind was not him looking to get away at all, but rather it was Baranziah, the Queen of Morrowind, and Hlalu Helseth using their influence to place him in a prominent place of power in Cyrodiil. Arundel is one of the citizens of note mentioned in the book. He is described as a living saint of Arkay. Arkay is one of the divines and is the god of the cycle of birth and death and the lord of seasons. Arundel was known as a crusader against necromancy, a magical practice seen to fly in the face of Arkay and be an abomination, essentially believing that dead things should stay dead. The last significant individual that is mentioned is Raith Lathandus, a famous painter living in Cheydinhal. He was in possession of the brush of true paint, which is said to be the reason for his success. He is part of the A Brush with Death quest from Oblivion. Thank you so much for sticking around and listening. Drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and tell me what you think about this book in the comments below. And may the blessings of the 8 divines be upon you.